Good afternoon, and welcome to another irritating version of Diatribes from the voice of Doom. Now here's your irascible and irrational host, voice of Doom. Hello. It's October 1st. It's my little brother's birthday. He's 62 today. So I know he's not watching, but wish him many happy returns. I hardly talk to any of my relatives, family. But when we do get together, it's pretty fun. We're still on good terms. So I know the diatribes are coming too often, and I'm starting to saturate the internet overexposure. And I'm sorry, but things are happening, so I have to kind of comment before things get out of hand. And you won't get my wisdom because everything will be shut down. Now, we got 35 days until we finish trying to elect a candidate for the leader of the free world. And we have a clear choice in who we want. And either choice is going to cause some major upheaval. So we got that to look forward to. But what's happening in the meantime, just to soften the target before the big implosion? All right. Just in the last few days, it's funny because they did that thing with the pagers and walkie-talkies where they somehow knew where these items were going and somehow planted booby traps into a whole bunch of them and killed a bunch of Hezbollah leaders somehow. And then they were saying, well, we're going to wait for the supreme leader of Hezbollah, Nasrallah, see what his comments are. And 2 days later, he's blown to bits. So things happen fast, you know. You better get your 2 cents in before you're, exploded. And then your opinion is no longer relevant. And they move on to the next. Now, I mean, from what I'm seeing in this conflict, I would hate to be a Hezbollah leader right now. I would be probably hiding in I wouldn't be hiding in a tunnel. Get blown up, and then you're really in bad shape because, you're in a tunnel. But I just wouldn't want to be a Hezbollah leader. I'm glad I led the life I did as a boomer in a prospering country that was slowly going down the tubes. But I was lucky enough to live during a relatively prosperous time. Those days are over, so forget it. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk to Gen Zers because I don't like to tell them that they're doomed and will not have a future because it's depressing. But so what's happened since Nasrallah was blown to bits? Well, we got 3 things that have happened. All more or less in the last 24 to 48 hours. We had a devastating hurricane go through the southeast of what used to be the U.S. And there's a lot of devastation and there's a lot of commiseration, and Petri dish is being cavalier about it and gargoyles being cavalier about it, more or less paying lip service. Yes, we will give you $2 billion. We will give you money from FEMA. Yes, it will come soon. Well, nothing's coming real fast. They're having a hard time actually getting supplies. Then on top of that, I guess today the ILA, International Longshoremen's Association, went on strike, which closed down all the ports in the eastern seaboard, down to Houston, saying all along the eastern seaboard, from Maine to Houston closed down. Good timing. It's always good to strike while the iron's hot. When things are really going good, there's no problems, it's a good time to go on strike. And see, there's this thing, it is kind of political wonkyism, but this thing called the Taft-Hartley Act, where a president who is the administrator of the laws can impose the Taft-Hartley and force them to stay on the job for 80 more days while they are still negotiating. But he didn't do that because he's a friend of labor. And they told him don't interfere, so he didn't. So they closed down the eastern seaboard. And food rots on the ships. And then all importing and exporting ceases. Every day that goes on is $5 billion in debt. Top of the fact that they've destroyed the southeastern, or nature has destroyed the southeastern part of what used to be the U.S., and now we close down the ports. Now, if you talk to an ILA, Longshoremen Union official, they will say, we are trying to reach an agreement. And the news person who has all the acumen of somebody on a middle school newspaper will have a good question and say, what are the terms of, where's the point of contention? Well, they won't use that word, but what are you arguing about? And the ILA official will say, I don't want to get into details about what we want, and etc., etc., and then it ends. I'll tell you the details of what they want, and it goes to show you how this labor union thing has gotten way out of hand. They want a 75% increase in their wages, and they already make about $100,000 a year on average, and they want to make 175, and they want to get a better pension fund where more money is socked away for them that they put away, matching funds. And they want to curtail the automation of the ports because it means less jobs for them, which actually isn't true. More jobs were created with automation, but we won't get into that. They're afraid, and they should be afraid, because eventually they can have robots do what people do. It's not just the automation of carrying the containers. And they do like 10,000 containers a day in any port. So you're not going to do it with manual labor. You're going to do it with machinery. But they want 75% more in an economy that's tanking. And while a quarter of the country is underwater, they decide to go on strike. Now, let's just add insult to injury, because right now as we speak, October 1st, it is nighttime in Israel, and they are trying their best to blast down every intercontinental ballistic missile that is being sent from Iran, because Iran is bombarding Israel with missiles and rockets, and Israel is doing its best and probably knocking down most of them, but even if you knock down 95%, that means 5% get through, and eventually their defensive munitions are going to be depleted, and then the rockets and missiles will come in willy-nilly, supplied by perhaps Russia or China, and it'll be a big mess. But it already is a big mess. Armageddon is happening. It started today, and it's a perfect day for it. ILA goes on strike, shuts down the seaboard, an inundating act of nature, which we're doing nothing about. We're not helping. And then Iran attacks Israel in earnest. And Israel wants to attack Lebanon in earnest. And they're still attacking Gaza in earnest. So October should be interesting. I think that the black swans are flying this way. And I still don't think there's going to be an election because there can't be. I've already told you why. Either outcome is not acceptable to somebody. And since we want everyone to be happy, and we don't want anyone to be offended, then we can't have an election. Impossible. And Gargoyles, being her usual idiotic self, going from venue to venue where she's not going to be asked any questions. And there is a consensus on her overall mean, M-I-E-N, overall demeanor. Her general want is that she's lazy. And you can say, hey, that's ridiculous and you don't know anything. And it's a known fact, documented in the archives, the National Archives in D.C. She is lazy. She doesn't want to do any homework. She wants to just sail through, be president of what used to be the United States, give parties and go to galas and go to meetings with high mucky mucks while her lower echelons do all the work, and be a lazy slob and live high on the hog. So that's the way that's going. So October 1st, we'll see what happens by October 7th. At the rate we're going, it's going to be a lot of new craters. A lot of bombed out craters all over this planet. And by the end of the month, I don't think we're going to have much of a Halloween, except we all may be pockmarked with nuclear, when your skin goes bad. So that'll be Halloween. We won't need to buy masks because we'll all be infected. So I'll leave it there on that happy note. I think I said enough, and enjoy what's left of our existence. Have fun. Blow your wad on in the casino. Really doesn't matter anymore. Goodbye.